I mean ya.
Dave, why don't you roll down the window and take...
They're gonna shut down the freeway.
I'm gonna get them to fucking wave to me.
I like how that they came in all Jeeps though. Jeeps and Hummers.
Look at you, they are all Jeeps.
They're going to war.
Oh.
They never talk about using it just to skip traffic.
Definitely come and see me. I would love to tour your van.
It's 420 somewhere.
Plan for the solar panels is to bolt them down on the roof, so they're going to be hard to clean underneath. I'm going to clay it, get it perfectly clean, wrap it with a white wrap. No oxygen or filth, dirt can get on the roof of the van underneath the solar panels. So in the future, if I ever remove the solar panels, everything will be perfectly clean under there. And that's what the clay is for. It looks like rust, but it isn't. The clay bar. You can get this pretty much anywhere. I'll put a link in the description. Some water. I got this surface as clean as I can get. Now the clay is going to get it even cleaner. Perfectly smooth. Even better than when you first bought the car from the dealership. You got to turn the clay. I've never wrapped anything before. Let's go see what's on the porch. Big box. My dad gave me this rack to put my stuff in. He took all this stuff off. Now I have all my parts in here. It's been hard to stay organized in this garage because it's kind of a mess. That's the new fridge. You don't want to get the fridge that has the divider right here, because then this space right here hardly does anything. It'd be nice if it had like a soft close lid. For $300, I guess we can't ask for too much. This is the fridge. And that thing shuts hard. I really hope I got the right one. I guess we'll see in time. Oh yeah. That's really high. Scary up here. Oh, definitely don't want to fall from up here. Take a look at this roof. It looks pretty beat up, right? Well, I've learned my lesson. This is not wrapping a roof with all the ridges. It's not easy. If I wanted it to look perfect, cut it in strips, like a foot wide each. A more manageable piece. Maybe just something to hold the whole sheet up as I'm applying it. The strips would have worked fine because you can't see it. It's still gonna serve its purpose. Nobody's gonna see how bad it looks. It's gonna get covered with the panels. So I'm not gonna worry about it. I'm gonna drill through the top of the van. See if this is gonna work. A little over a dozen screws I gotta take out, and they're all super short. Gardeners in my neighborhood, I know. I've got my holes marked. Oh my gosh, it's so loud. I want these solar panels mounted as secure as possible. Really worried that wasn't gonna work. It's good. Being on an angle like this, it's kind of a scary hole to drill. Go in straight on this angle, like so, nice and slow. Once I get the hole all the way through, ream it out with the drill straight up and down. It's gonna wanna bend the solar panel. See what happened there. The support brace bar, I was worried that might be a problem. It's not a problem. And that spray glue holds good. On the other side, both sides, cutting pieces of this, just small pieces, just a little bit bigger than the hole. I'm hoping that's gonna keep it nice and leak proof. I put silicone, 100% silicone, clear, that doesn't matter, around the hole and kind of in it. I put my screw through, my bolt. Gad's underneath here, he's putting the nuts on the bolts. Nylon nut, impossible to get these bolts out. Looks good. Short days are killing me. I gotta go to the hardware store. My longest bolt is not long enough, so hopefully I can find something longer than this. Looks pretty dope though. I possibly screwed up. All the mounting locations on these panels are deep in the channels and not on the high point of the channels, and I wish I would have maybe, I don't know man, I don't know what would have worked, mounted them at the high points of the ridges. I should have found some sort of sheets then mount the panels to, so that there's no recesses for the panels to get pushed down into. Even though these are flexible panels, they're not really flexible. Each one of these individual cells that you see on the panel doesn't flex. I heard some cracking putting the screws in and when I was kind of putting my hands. I'm gonna have to go get the tester when there's full sun, see if there's any damage. Did some research. You're not supposed to use these little holes that are in the panels to mount them. What it said was that I was supposed to mount it down with silicone. I kind of wish I would have done things a bit differently. I probably should have done panels for my panels. Always the gardeners, right? Here we are, a new day. Oh yeah, it's the next day, by the way. See how the presses down in? Doing this butyl tape so that rain can't seep through the hole. The butyl tape gives a lot. Once I start bolting it in, it's gonna press. The butyl tape is like silly putty. It's moldable. I'm using nylon locking nuts. They don't actually have to be super tight. Nylon nuts won't come off, even if they're loose. I'm also drilling through the butyl tape. Don't think that this one's gonna do it. So I'm gonna go with this one right here. Boom. We got the panels in full sun now. You guys see that? 22.7. I believe that's a good panel. It's the winter time. The other panel. There you go, 22.6. Voltages are matching, so I think we're doing okay. When you're doing solar, they buy the MC4 connectors, which connect to these. Mounting box, all the wires to connect to. I'm gonna drill a hole for each wire so I can run it straight down into the truck. Then, whatever. I still have this panel to do. This panel's done. I'm having a problem where, for some reason, my camera stops recording. Goes straight down in, give you the close-up. Shoot, this is gonna be a hard one because it's not very long. Really want this one to go in right here. This is 4.5 inches, so I'm gonna go inside. I'm gonna see if that'll work. This is my final drill bit. This little one first, little pilot hole. It's less likely for a smaller drill bit to move around. Always gardeners, right? Isn't it crazy? Be sure when you're drilling these holes that there's nothing you're gonna drill into and damage on the other side. I have the piece of metal that I cut out for the skylight. I test fit these O-rings and this wire on that scrap piece of metal to make sure that it works. These wires do not fit the O-ring. It's a very tight squeeze to get them through. That's how it's gonna prevent any leaking. There we go. Shove this in. I'm gonna go inside. I wanna make sure that I'm guiding this through. Push it all the way through now. It is a tight fit. That's what she said. How pretty does that look? I wouldn't mount these in one of the recesses. Up on the side, less likely for water to pool up. These things are so tight, like I don't see them leaking at all. The wire is too short. Sometimes in the build, whatever you wanna do just isn't gonna work, and it's better to just go with what will obviously work. Yeah, this will work. This will be good. Let's say you really did make a mistake and you put a hole in the wrong place. Even if it's for like a big thing like your vent fan or skylight, it is repairable. Save the pieces that you cut out, go to a body shop, have them weld back into place. You're gonna have to leave it in the shop for days. Hey, let's not make mistakes, obviously. Right there. Next bit. I probably should have put some paint on here so it doesn't rust. You gotta mark which one's positive and which one's negative. You could always check it with a multimeter or only marker, this little red O-ring, to tell you that this is the positive terminal. These MC4 connectors, FYI, they're not necessary. Can't reach it. Had to get some pliers. There we go. To mark this as a positive, cover up that exposed end. Wire, another positive wire, and then the other negative wire. Crimping tool. It says the size right there. So this is a 10 to 12. That's solid. I'm tugging on it with all my weight, and that ain't coming off. Well, I'm wiring these panels in parallel because that's what the instructions say. Negative, negative. Why are you being so negative? A negative wire right here. I'm gonna join them together. I have to bring the two wires down into the charger. I have to put them together. I'm at a much thicker gauge. These are 12. I have this 8 gauge. Two 12s together, it's about the size of an 8 gauge, maybe a little bit bigger. I have all these different sizes. None of them are for 8 gauge. I'm gonna solder. I will be sure to use color-coded heat shrink tube at the ends so that I know which one's positive, which one's negative. Get some tape. Put red tape, black tape. You gotta keep track of the polarity. This is a pretty cool tool. There's better strippers out there that are more accurate. You don't want to take off any of the wire when you're doing it. Twist the ends. Slide that thing into the hole. Squeeze as hard as you can. Thing ain't going nowhere. Getting a late start today. I get a late start every day. Gotta run these wires down to the solar charger right here. Got all these different electrical conduit. They rub up against the metal edges. I don't want it to tear into the wire and cause a short, so. I picked up these things at Lowe's. Popper conductor. Put whatever wires you want in there. I didn't know this existed, and I thought I was gonna have to solder these together, but I was able to do it like this. Really big heat shrink tube, nice and sealed up. These lights. Shows you that it's charging and the numbers go up. Shows you your percent charge. I got this van mainly because I always wanted to have an off-grid solar system. This is gonna be the fuse for the inverter. You gotta fuse everything off of the positive. Devices that need a lot of power.